Is Necromancer coming to Black Desert, eh? That's an interesting conversation. This is a clickbait video, but I promise to entertain you through and through the entirety of it. Now, in the past, I've known to predict very important three things is what I've been known to predict. And those three things all stem from lore, and I managed to pinpoint them with such accuracy to the point where it is insane. In one of my very early live streams, I dedicate a fair portion of it talking about how we will be getting black distortion earrings in Calphion Elvia. Not that important, true, but hear my train of thought. In the Stars and grinding spot, in the lore, Caphras, who is somebody that we will talk about in a bit in this video, Caphras exploded Stars End to harvest despair, and the black distortion earring was made manifest through this act. In Calphion Elvia, what do? What is the number one thing that we get as a reward from grinding the spot? Crystallized despair. Good golly goo, what did we get? Black distortion earrings. You get the entire idea. A little bit furthermore, again tied around Stars End is, well, the fallen god armor, which wasn't necessarily a prediction to 100%, but rather I spoke in particular in a video of mine where we will be looking for a way to resist Zarka's influence and the god of despair's influence, and kind of all of that to be at the same time. So it happened through seeing the Ahibs who stood watch over the Black Star, looking for a way to, well, observe the situation and how are these people resisting Zarka's influence over there through the Black Star, who we know now to be the God-eyed deity encased inside of it. If you have played the quest, then you know that that is true. And the Ahibs managed to find a way through Caphras, once more, his teachings in alchemy, to transmute, or rather to find a way to capsulate power and use it as a defensive property. Therefore, the fallen god armor, who is purposely made to resist the burnings of the Turasil tree, the power which corrupts the Ahibs, or the burning Ahibs. The same guy in Crypt of Resting Thoughts, yeah, those Ahibs are completely lost. They cannot die. They constantly wail. They're in perpetual torment, agony, and they're looking to do nothing but killing. That's essentially it. And last but not least, I think, although I'm not entirely sure, I might be the person where the Fallen God weapons actually started, and that is very simple due to Dawn's Glove and Land of the Morning Light Part 1 finale, where you simply cannot wield a godlike power without a proper equipment for it. And I said, well, if you need to wield something with a weapon, then you might as well just give us a Fallen God weapon. We already know that we have 4 pieces of them, so why not as well just get a weapon for that as well, and that proved to be correct. Now, let's move towards the Necromancer, and I hope I built some credibility for you, and I hope this video is very fun. Now, for the purpose for you to understand where this video is going to, I have 2 very important episodes which you need to watch, 1 and 2 of Caphras' lore. Now, those episodes have been so great. I've done so much work on them. I hired voice actors for them, which is very cool. I myself do Hadoom's part, also narrate the entire thing, and I hired a very nice gentleman to work specifically on Caphras. We had some rehearsals. He's a great guy. I love him to death. And it's going to be very fun and entertaining. You will really understand how important Caphras is and how tragic his lore is. And we will be talking a little bit about Valkyrie lore today as well, because it is important. And finally, all of this might lead to, well, is Necromancer coming to Black Desert? Let's give it a go. So Caphras the Immortal Alchemist, first as a boss in Edania, or the new name of the Demon Lands, which is very important, by the way. Edania, okay, I see where this is going. But, you know, Caphras the Immortal Alchemist. Emphasis on immortal, right? He is immortal. He factually is immortal. He's been cursed by Hadoom, his ex-god, let's just say it like this, to forever and ever see the sorrows of the world for his audacity and to think that he can actually stand against him. That is pretty much the trope, very common trope for Caphras in particular. So we know that Caphras has been cursed with immortality to relive the pains of the world through his eyes forever and ever and ever. In his findings, one way or another, Caphras managed to expel Hadoom's influence from this world with the help of the Black Spirit, and this is how he created the Caphras Stone. And then, long story short, he understood that in order for this world to continue to exist without it being put under someone else's thrall or destroy itself, my bad, then it needs to be put under a jurisdiction, let's just say, or it needs to be put under some being to govern it. It needs a government. This world can simply not exist with everyone being free inside it, doing whatever they want to do, especially with external influences. So Caphras was led to one of the most important bits of lore into this game, known as the Altar of Blood, where he entered by harvesting the very same despair which manifested the Black Distortion Earring to create a Gem of Imbalance, a copycat of it, and he went into the place where Zarka was sealed after he figured out that he was a god of hope at some point. Zarka, that is. Zarka in the ancient kingdom of Orzeka, he was not a lord of corruption, he was factually a god, sheer manifest of hope, and he was so strong that he could fend off of Hadum. Now, this is something that we will talk about, and this is the final time we ever see Caphras, him entering into the place where Zarka was banished by kind of no other than Enslar. You could say that, but you know, Zarka banishing is a little bit complicated. Just to give you a very proper explanation, summoning Zarka means that you summon probably 1/100th of Zarka. Like the Zarka summons and the Nightmare Zarka summons, they're a mere fraction of Zarka's power. So when you summon Zarka, this doesn't mean that that's one Zarka sealed, one Zarka sealed. No. When you summon Zarka, you just summon a smithereen of himself. And yeah, that should put a very good expectation and understanding how powerful actually Zarka is in the lore. And one of the last beings to actually seal Zarka was Enslar, who is the maternal figure of the Valkyrie. Yes, and coincidentally, somehow, for whatever reason, Enslar is also now going to be an evil boss for some reason. In Edania, yeah, the Demon Lands. We have no idea. I have an idea, and I'm going to share it with you in a moment, but now we understand two things. Now, for the people wondering a little bit about the Valkyrie lore, just to give you a very good explanation of Valkyrie lore, Calpheon is run by three elites. Let's just call them like this. You have the Church of Calpheon, you have the Calpheonian nobles, and you have the Valkyries. At one point in time, the Valkyries' influence ran over so much to the point where people loved the Valkyries, everybody was for the Valkyries, and the other two elites were kind of worried that they might fall out of power, so they handled a little bit of a coup attempt to send Valkyries to their inevitable defeat, to a mission impossible, to seal a full-blown summon Zarka. And them bitches were so freaking badass, they came back with mission successful, but unfortunately Enslar and a bunch of other Valkyries, at least presumably, died. Now, if we're to believe this death, well, I mean, Enslar is there, and now we have to talk about really the bread of things. Okay, so Caphras is somehow in Edania. We know that we will see him. The Caphras character has been spoken of ever since 2011. There is a leaked, forgotten image of a concept art, and there is a slate in Ancient Stone Chamber with Caphras in it before it was removed as well. So he's very kept well hidden by Pearl Abyss, rightfully so, because Caphras is just such an important character. He is the pivot point of Black Desert right now. If it wasn't Sage, who is also chilling right around there at the corner, he is very important as well. So we know last time we saw Caphras was that he was looking for Zarka to usher in the God of Hope once more into this world for the sakes of the world being put under a being that can resist Hadum's influence. Yes, we live under a thrall, but it will be our own thrall. It will be of our own choice. It will be a being of ours, essentially. So this is a very important, morally great decision that Caphras had to make at one point. If you want to understand why he made this decision, episode number 1 and 2 of the voiced over series, go ahead and check those. They're very important and they're super entertaining. I promise you, you won't regret watching them. And now we have, obviously, in the Edania, well, Enslar, and she's alive somehow. Well, here's the thing. Caphras is known to have done this on apparently 2 already, but 3, if we believe my theory to be correct, and those things are called resurrections. See, if you've played the very first part of the reworked Balanos quest chain, that you know, especially if you have read some knowledge, that during Agris Bartali III, about I think it was 60 or 70 years ago, something like this in the game, that you would know that Agris Bartali ordered his favorite knight, his most noble knight, to be killed because of his anti-Caphras mongering. Essentially, Caphras was there meddling in very bad ways, episode 1 and 2, go ahead and watch them, and he was ordered slain, and Caphras resurrected him as a monstrosity to do the bidding of his king. Attempt number 1. There was also another attempt, although I'm very vague on the lore of it, but there was another attempt for Caphras to revive something. Sorry, just slipped my mind at this particular moment. And, well, if he's done this already twice, then him going into the place where Enslar died with Zarka, somehow coming back, and now Enslar is alive. I mean, what better place to introduce a Necromancer class? Literally, we note that we have been playing essentially important characters in the lore, like Guardian, who is literally behind us, like Sage, who is literally the most important character. We have over here behind us Hashashin. We have Homunculi, Nova, who is Francesca Seric, the proper heir of Calpheon. Even though she's a fake human being, she is still that. She's just a recreation of that past character. You know, we see to have been playing one of the most essential characters in the lore of BDO, so why not perhaps us to finally get some necromancy, because one of the main characters in this lore may or may not be antagonists. You could pretty much say that that's probably on the horizon. And considering his track record and seeing what somehow Enslar being alive with him when those characters are two separate things, you know, Caphras wants to usher Zarka in, Enslar died to seal Zarka. How did that happen? You know, you have to ask yourself this. So I'm very curious to see if this will come into fruition. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's a clickbait video. It's probably full of shit, but it's an entertaining one. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, lore is good because it often enough tells us things that are coming without us having to read patch notes or other types of leaks. And also, I have a good track record, so I hope I'm right, but at the same time, it's a long far fetch, okay? Love you guys. Mwah. Enjoy yourselves. Bye-bye.